Hello, my name is Dirk Meyer, and I'm a music director candidate for the Modesto Symphony Orchestra. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about Argentinian composer Osvaldo Golijov, who is featured on our program on April 1st and 2nd, together with Prokofiev and Brahms. The concert opens with Sidereus by Osvaldo Golijov. I have performed Golijov's music quite frequently over the years because it truly speaks to me. His approach to music, especially orchestral music, is simply stunning. He is a composer that says yes to melody, but he also says yes to atmospheric soundscapes, blocks of sound that move around and that create a trance-like feeling of flying through space, rather than the feeling of going for a walk that we have when we hear a nice melody. Golijov also embraces unusual techniques and technology to create sounds that you have not heard before. His cello concerto called Azul is a great example for that. Here, you hear an instrument called the hyper accordion, an invention of Golijov's friend Michael Ward Bergman. Now, they pick up the sound of the accordion and they send it through a sampler, a computer, to create all sorts of otherworldly sounds. The result is simply stunning. Azul is one of the best and most beautiful pieces written in the past 20 years. None of this is new, of course. Arnold Schoenberg was the first to experiment with soundscapes in the early 20th century, and ever since the Romantic era, many composers have experimented with new sounds in the orchestra, especially the percussion. But of the modern-day composers, not many have been as successful as Golijov to fully incorporate these elements into their musical style and to use those effects in such a coherent and natural way. Sidereus was originally written about 10 years ago to celebrate the Dean of American Orchestral Music, Henry Fogel, as he concluded his tenure as the head of the League of American Symphony Orchestras. I should mention that at that time, Sidereus created quite a stir in the musical world because people accused Golijov of plagiarism. And indeed, when you compare Sidereus to a piece called Barbaik by Michael Ward Bergman, some stretches are almost identical. But, and of course there's a but, one has to understand that Golijov and Ward Bergman are not just close friends, they are also close collaborators. As a matter of fact, these soundscapes that I talked about earlier, much of these are created collaboratively between those two composers, and at some point it becomes impossible to say who wrote what. Now this is what happened with Sidereus. For Sidereus, Golijov uses a melody that the two of them composed trying to capture the beauty of the night sky in Patagonia, South America. And boy, is he successful. From the imposing opening that reminds us of the grandeur and endless space above us, to the thousands and millions of stars that hang above Patagonia on a clear night, the piece just glistens and shines and truly lets us feel like we are lying in the great wide open, marveling at that amazing night sky. Don't miss this wonderful work and join us for Prokofiev and Brahms on April 1st and 2nd at the Gallo Center for the Arts, as I have the pleasure to work with your Modesto Symphony Orchestra.